Okay, I'm back. At least I think I am. Okay, what was I doing again? Oh, I was testing to see if Jeb could get out of this ship. EVA. Sweet. So even if the thing is there, that's a problem though. Because there's no way he's getting back on the ship. Now, granted, that's empty on the surface of Kerbin. Although every planet this thing's going to land on, including Duna, you can fly with your jetpack. So that's not a big deal. So there's that. So let's go ahead and abort the simulation. And now, is this thing the root part? No. So we need to make it the root part. I think that worked. Yes. Now we need to take everything off of it and make those sub-assemblies. Everywhere ISRU. So we've got the Everywhere Lander, which can do Tylo as well. We've got the Everywhere ISRU, which can do up to Moho and Duna. We've got the Lathe Plane. And we've got the can. And then we've got the Eve ship, which actually has the can in it, so we don't actually need to bring the can. I am terrified to say I think I have every piece of my puzzle. Except for the transfer stuff, the quote-unquote mothership. So, I don't remember if I took 13 works or 14. But here's 13. I don't even remember what the difference between this one and the other one was. I guess it probably doesn't matter if I don't know the difference. Oops. How did I do that? I don't know. Let's see. This guy has an extra fuel tank here. It has a battery and a thing here. It doesn't have a thing here. I know I was changing that around. Let's go ahead and load 14 and see if it has other things here. Eve 14. Yeah, he didn't have a battery. So I say we take the one with the battery. Because it's not going to matter, because this part is what really matters. Getting this thing back off of Eve is what matters. So let's go ahead and do that. Let's go ahead and load Eve 104.13 works. And, I mean, just getting this thing into space is going to be crazy. But we got to do it, right? So now we need to also bring all the junk with this, and there's really no easy way to do it. So I mean, I could bring multiple launches. I don't feel bad about that. I don't feel bad about that. So let's go ahead and plan for that. What we need on the front here. Actually, let's go ahead and do this before I forget. Let's name this Grand Tour. Let's not type because the game hates me. Grand Tour 1. And let's get the solar panels on here, otherwise I'm going to forget them. There we go. Let's get him way up here. And the nice thing is this is already symmetric or aerodynamic. So, you know, I don't have to worry about that. Let's go ahead and make this for Kerbin again, and then compact. Okay. So what we need here is we've got 8 grand, so we need this to be about 11 grand, maybe 12, when it's all done. We need to start with the big decoupler here. Where are you? Not the big decoupler, although it might fit. No, that's ugly. Okay. This decoupler is the one I'm talking about. No, don't go everywhere. No, go right here. There we go. And then I think we want this. I think we want to just go right to the big stuff. Who do you think you are, Mr. Big Stuff? And let's just go for broke here with the massive tank. It's the bigger one. There we go. Let's do 2 for the fun of it. And let's have the big engine. Okay, all by yourself, you could almost lift this. Frankly, that's kind of nuts. I didn't actually expect that to be a thing. And you already have the Delta V. So if we be stupid here, that's technically enough to get this thing into orbit. And if we could just... That's crazy, though. That is crazy. I mean, I'm thinking about just getting this thing into orbit and then like constructing the mothership in orbit. So maybe we should put the mothership in. We should put the mothership together here. So what we need here is we need a way to connect this to the rest of the ship, and we can't do that. Like there's nothing on here. We can't attach it to here, so it has to be attached to here, and I think it has to be attached via a docking port. Oh, but that's gonna be wobbly. We could drag it. Because if we do, let's do this. Let's put this guy back on here. Not there. There we go. Put him there. Take this off. Take this off. And then do a docking port instead. Oh, let me think about this. No, I actually want that. I want that decoupler. I want the decoupler. My brain is having a hard time with this whole thing, probably because it's stupid. There you go. Decoupler with a docking port on the bottom. Eventually I'll find the docking port. It's in utility. I know that. And then put this here. Now, in theory, this should be able to get this into orbit, single stage, because we have no money problems. This whole thing is backed by the government. It's free, basically. So if we raise all the landing gear and put some cones on this thing. Is there even a big cone? I don't think there is. No. We could do this. No, you're not going to let me do that. I'm going to have to do something stupid like this and then that. Stupid. Okay, and then these engines, ditch these when I feel like it, and then this, and then we'll keep this up there. We should have a probe core here. Because it's not really a mission parameter. I mean, this is a one-shot thing, so it doesn't really matter that much. But I would like to be able to... That's not what I wanted. I guess I do want this one. I would like to be able to say that I'd left no stuff in space in orbit or anything. This is a horribly inefficient way to do this. If I was smart, I would ditch... Actually, let's go ahead and do it. I say, if I was smart, I would do what I'm about to do right now, which is go ahead and do this. Go ahead and do this. Apparently, I attached those completely differently than I thought I did. It's nowhere near what I wanted. Okay, let's do this. And then these guys all together. That's more delta V than we need. And it's more thrust to weight than we need. Kind of makes you think about doing something more akin to... Where's the big solids? There they are. And then when we ditch these, our thrust to weight will be over 0. I don't think that's enough. I wonder if we could do something like this. Put some nose cones on these guys just to be pretty. Well, and because they actually matter now. And it's still super low on the thrust to weight. Not the thrust to weight, but the delta V. Well, let's try it. Why not? We should probably put launch clamps on it though, because that thing's gonna be super heavy. And you know what? Let's actually cancel the launch here for a second because we're going to have some issues with stability. Let's go up to 6 times symmetry and from right. And so let's do it from the fuel tank to these guys. Right there. Save it, and now let's launch it. Yeah, this is going to be the last thing I do. When I'm done with this, I'm going to disconnect and bid you all adieu. I did not strut the the solids, but oh well. 3, 2, 1, launch. Okay, our thrust to weight is obviously closer to 1 than I thought it would be. Probably should have checked the Atmo thrust to weight ratio. This tells me that we're going to be screwed the moment the solids run out. The moment the solids run out, this thing plummets to the earth, into the ocean, crashing, burning, and everyone dies. That's what I expect is going to happen here. In just a few short moments. Here we go. Here we go. What's our thrust to weight? Yeah, see, our thrust to weight is like 0.9. Let's go ahead and abort the simulation. Okay, I will try one more thing. I would like to get this guy into orbit. I mean, we could just do more solids. We really could. Solids are free boost, right? Is that even close to good? No, that was horrible. We also need to strut these guys. There we go. And a little bit of struts never hurt anybody. Put them right here to right here. This is definitely a simulation. I'll try one more thing. The siren call of Kerbal. Yes, Mandelbrot. No, it is. Like I have things to do. It's midnight now here, and I have to do them. So that's just the way it works. But okay, this is better. Thrust away to 1.5. That's more what we expect out of Kerbal Space Program. Okay, we should be good now. If we just hold this 0.5 degrees until our apoapsis gets up to about 4 kilometers, we should be good. It's weird launching off Kerbin after all this testing on different planets. Like, it's weird to know exactly what I want to do before I even do it. Like, I can't guarantee the ship will actually do what I want it to do, but at least I know what to want it to do. And that is be less squirrely. But I don't think that's an option, and yeah, this thing is crazy. I'm going up higher and faster than I want to because of the fact that I'm terrified that it's gonna flip. There we go. If I diverge from prograde too much, there we go. 20 kilometers. I want to be under 45 degrees. But if I go under 45 degrees right now, this thing's gonna flip. Literally, not like get mad at me. I'm gonna flip if it flips. Okay, now I need to. Don't blow up my thing. Nice. Okay. Whew. Okay. What was that? Okay, I feel better about the ship now. Yeah, our apoapsis is 34, 35. I want this to be closer to the 20 degree mark, and I think we're high enough in the atmosphere now I can probably do that. So let's go ahead and just bring him down. There we go. Okay, once you get above 30 kilometers, you're fine. I'm not really that concerned. We've still got $2,000 in this tank. We're going almost 800 meters per second. I think we're going to be fine. I'm going to follow this thing all the way to orbit, though, just so we finish on a positive note here as far as this is concerned. But yeah, I think I'm gonna construct the mothership in orbit. I don't think launching the entire mothership from the surface is something I want to try. And we're probably gonna stick this thing on the back of the mothership, and the mothership might be like a frame of multiple engines that then has all the stuff attached to it on the inside. At least the spindly stuff. Okay, there we go. Right on the horizon. Burn into orbit. We're going 13. We've still got 15 in the tank. That's plenty. We'll actually still have some fuel. And the idea is to leave this thing attached to it, and then when the other ship comes up, we're going to have that tug. And the tug is basically going to be a claw, maybe even 2 claws. And its whole goal is to claw something, drag it over somewhere, and then claw it to something else, and then do whatever it needs to be done with it. And that thing, what it can do is it can claw to this, and then claw back to the actual mothership, and then drain all the fuel from it, except for just enough for this thing to deorbit itself. At least that's the goal. That is, as you say, the plan. Could also put this whole thing under a fairing, but I don't think it's that necessary. It's pretty, I mean, it's aerodynamic enough to lift off of Eve. Should be aerodynamic enough to lift off of Kerbin, you know, minus the burning uppy things. The heat shields. I knew they were called heat shields. The maker of the gravity turn mod would probably really appreciate this gravity turn, because this was basically perfect. Okay, get this thing up to the 80s-ish. I don't think there's any actual solar panels on this thing, now that I'm looking at it. So let's turn the computer off. Time warp ourselves up. This thing is actually warm. That's kind of funny. It's obviously aerodynamically stable backwards. Or something, I don't know. I was in time warp when I did that. I would call that a mistake. Also, our apoapsis is now crazy high. But at least it won't go down now. So let's just let this thing swing around as it goes. Dun 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 dun. I'm tone deaf, so I really shouldn't be making music on the show. There is one other thing I could do with this mission, and that is send each piece from Kerbin, and then just have the lander can go from place to place. But that feels like cheating to me. That feels like something you shouldn't do. Yes, I have tested this thing. If you know what, I hate to say one more thing, but you weren't here at the beginning. I actually tested this Eve lander. Once I get this thing into orbit, I'll hyper edit it to Eve, and I'll show you the descent and landing, because it's moderately harrowing, to be honest. Okay, this guy has no control authority except for the engine, so I'm going to have to burn the engine a little bit to turn him around. I don't care that he doesn't have control authority. Oh, wait a minute. I actually want to be burning prograde. What am I doing? Why didn't anybody tell me I was burning retrograde? There we go. We're in orbit. Yay! Okay, so the idea here is to disconnect this thing when it's all done. And then he can just aim himself retrograde. And burn himself back to Kerbin. While this stays up and then can attach to the mothership from the front, and all this stuff has fuel, which is awesome. Okay, so let's go and hyper edit this guy into Eve orbit. And let's see, Eve, we'll do it at, let's say 81 kilometers. And this is actually a good test because he's perfectly set backwards. Let's go ahead and toss this because we don't want it anymore. But then with time warp at maximum, actually I'm a bit concerned about the amount of heat being generated on these guys. But you can see that it's stable forward or backward or whatever you want to say. Heat shield front. And I actually had an iteration of this guy that had an ISRU unit on the bottom to basically guarantee that. And I can also turn on the computer and say aim retrograde. That'll really guarantee that he's aimed retrograde. And then turn off the computer here and just let it go. Yeah, the Eve thing was that was the first thing I did. I actually did that before streaming tonight. I did that offline, and when I had that, once I got the Eve lander, then I knew that this was a possible thing to do. This whole crazy idea of doing a grand tour, something I've always wanted to do, but until ISRU came out, I really couldn't justify putting the time into it. Yeah, it's definitely requires a lot more. I don't know if the word is patience, but a lot more work is involved in the new atmosphere. You have to be 100% sure that you're going to not burn up, and this is what worked for me. So I saw other people using just one heat shield, and like I can't imagine even trying that. Sadly, we're going to land in the water, but what are you going to do? It looks cool, too. Like, it's nice and compact. I mean, we're getting heat warnings on everything, but we're fine. I mean, we're almost under 2 grand meters per second. I'm going to slow down to 1 time so we don't get any weird physics warp things. I had some problems with that. At 4 times physics warp, things would always blow up. And I don't know if the actual effect of the flame on the landing gear means that they're actually getting touched, but they've never burned off. Like, I've lost parachutes, and I used to have solar panels on these guys and stuff, and I would lose those all the time, but I've never lost landing gear. I don't know exactly how they calculate occlusion and stuff like that in the game. I know it's an approximation, and I'm cool with it being an approximation, but I just don't know what it is. And this guy can't land at sea level. Like, he's landing in the sea, which is bad. He has to be at least 2 kilometers up, otherwise I can't get him back into orbit. And I'm cool with that. I'll make sure that he lands 2 kilometers down in the real game. But obviously we're fine now. So, and he can actually go at I think he can go at 4 times time warp the whole way down, but I like to get him down to about 2 kilometers off the surface, then hit the parachutes, and then once he's 1 kilometer off the surface and the parachutes actually open, then I drop the heat shield. Jeb seems to be enjoying himself. But okay, now we are 2.5 kilometers off the surface. Now that we're 2, hit the chutes. And then as soon as they open, ditch the heat shield, and it plummets to the ground. And now I can actually go at 4 times time warp. I have no idea what that was. But obviously time warp has some issues. But yeah, that's the ship, and obviously it's coming down at under 7 meters per second, so you know everything's good. Landing gear works. Yeah, and then this guy, if he's 2 kilometers off the surface, he can get back into orbit. I'm not going to show that, though, because I got to get out of here. I hope everybody enjoyed watching this. I enjoyed playing it. But yeah, I like this Twitch thing. It's kind of weird. It's not anything like YouTube, even though they're kind of the same. So it might take me a little while to get into it and like figure it out and know what I'm doing and all that good stuff. But so far I'm having a good time. I hope you guys liked it too. I'm HMV, and I will, as always, talk at you later. And I'll see you around too, Mandelbrot.